Okay. Hi, everybody. Can you all hear me? Awesome. Well, welcome to the Back to Best Buddies Leadership Training Day. We are so happy to have you. My name is Lauren Preischel. I'm the Program Manager of Volunteers, and we are so excited to have you all today. If y'all could go ahead and mute your mics and turn on your videos, we definitely encourage that. If at any point in time, if you have any questions, feel free to chime in or raise your hand or drop the message in the chat. We are very happy to answer any questions you may have. That's the whole point of this. We want to answer all of your questions, make sure you know what you're doing, so you can have a really successful semester. So I know we did the little poll about pineapple on pizza and Pepsi or Coke. I am not a pineapple person, but that's just me. It seems like a lot of people are too. All righty. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I first want to introduce Miss Linda. She's gonna introduce herself and what she does for Best Buddies.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited that we are having this workshop together. Local Leadership Training Day, Back to Best Buddies are some of my favorite days, and I'm just excited to see all of you here today. I am the state director for Best Buddies. My offices are in North Texas, but I like to waltz across Texas whenever I can. So I was recently in Austin to welcome some of our new participants, and also in Houston, getting things excited things going there. So I just appreciate everything that each of you do. We can't deliver our programs without your leadership and your participation. And so from each and every one of us, thank you very, very much. And I'm happy to be here today. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Linda. All righty. Well, Joaquin, could you share the presentation so we can get started?
All right, do you see it now? Okay, so to start off, this information right here on the screen, guys, is something that you hopefully have already seen because we sent out a video and some information prior to this presentation. So just kind of a refresher. This information we'll also be talking about later on in the presentation in a little bit more detail. So the things happening in February, YLC applications, Friendship Ball, of course. In March, the applications closed for that, and it's Best Buddies month all month long. We have a couple of things happening that month specifically for that. And then in April and May, we have the Friendship Walk, our biggest spring events for each region that our offices are in. Also happening this entire spring semester, myself and Victoria down in Houston, with the assistance of other individuals, we are putting together, or we have put together, these parent sessions. Each month, there's a different topic that we are going to be kind of talking about, or somebody else will be talking about, that is of importance to parents, specifically those parents of buddies, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And so January and February have already passed. Sorry, January has already passed, but February and March, April and May have some topics coming up. We encourage you to share this information, which is also in the Buddy Beats, and we will send reminders out the closer we get to them, but to let the parents of your buddies know, as this is something that they would likely probably want to know some more information about. And then also anybody in your community that would benefit with this information, we encourage you to share that as well. And it's on the website. It's at bestbuddies.org/Texas/virtual parent sessions. And then there's also this QR code here that if you use your phone, you should be able to get to it. as well. But that information, again, has already been kind of sent out on Buddy Beats before, and it will continue to be sent out through that and other means as well. Okay.
Righty. So a little reminder for everybody. I know when Friendship Walk is coming up, we all have our chapter shirts that happen or merch. Some people like to get hats or sweatshirts made. So we just want to remind you that anything that you make that has our Best Buddies logo or says Best Buddies on it does need to be approved by your program manager. A lot of you have sent yours my way, and that's a really easy thing to do. You can email it to your program manager or direct message them in the GroupMe, really easy. But usually when you have any type of merch printed, your t-shirt shop will probably send you a proof, a digital proof of what it will look like. And so you can just copy and paste that over to your program manager, and that way it can be approved, because we have some guidelines that make sure that you're following all the rules for our logo, because our logo is actually art that was donated to us when we first started. So if you take a look at this, there's also a QR code there to the logo guidelines if you ever need to refer back to it. And if you have any other questions, you can always message your program manager too. But we have some strict guidelines on what you can and cannot do to the logo or the word Best Buddies in general. So if you look at the ones on the side here, these are some examples of what you can do. These are really cute. We love to see the purple. And then if you ever need the black and white or the full color logos, you can get those from your program manager. We'll be happy to send those your way. Any questions regarding logos? Okie dokie. Well, then it is my great pleasure to introduce our Young Leadership Council member, Garrett. He is going to tell you all about the amazing work that the YLC is doing this year.
Muted there. Howdy, my name is Garrett Tomaszek. I am the chair of the Young Leaders Council and board of director for Best Buddies International. I am currently a student at Texas A&M, studying economics with a minor in communications. Two other members on the YLC are also Texas natives, and they're going to introduce themselves as well. Tanya, do you want to go first?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Tanya Swaney. I'm a second-year member on the YLC, and I'm also a member of the UT chapter here in Austin.
Hey, y'all. Much like Tanya, I'm also from the University of Texas at Austin. This is my first year on the Young Leaders Council. I do see some familiar names and faces in the chat because I'm from Dallas originally. So it's so nice to reconnect with y'all, and we can't wait to share all the wonderful things that the YLC is getting into.
Absolutely. So kind of just beginning, I wanted to talk to all of you guys about what the YLC is. The YLC stands for the Young Leaders Council, and it's basically the highest level of student leadership people can reach in the Best Buddies ecosystem. And we work to kind of portray the student perspective to a lot of staff in HQ, and we're able to really use tools from HQ to implement unique initiatives that are relevant to all aspects of the Best Buddies ecosystem, which includes all four pillars, which are friendship, leadership, jobs, and inclusive living. And that just kind of talks about the graphic over there, talks a little bit about where we're from and kind of everything we do. And if you'd like to learn more about the YLC, please go ahead and scan that QR code. Applications do open on February 1st and close on March 1st. And then now we're just going to talk a little bit, if you could go to the next slide, about the tasks that the YLC does. This is just a graphic basically showing all of the important kind of leadership responsibilities and aspects that the YLC has taught us. This mostly includes writing professional emails, attending video calls with a lot of people from Best Buddies staff and HQ, along with other YLC members. The YLC is also required to attend yearly training calls and attend Best Buddies leadership conference. And then we're also required to attend Leadership Development Council calls. In addition to that, each member of the YLC has their own unique responsibilities based on the initiatives that they choose to take on. One reason why I love the YLC is because you can bring your perspective and ideas to the YLC, and those are often implemented into the initiatives we do. So everyone kind of has their own responsibilities that you can read about there, but everyone shares the same general tasks of attending calls, leadership conference, and again, kind of communicating with members of the council as well as with staff and HQ.
And then when you have the chance, can we go to the next slide?
Awesome. So I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about what the application is going to look like, what to expect, and how the process is going to be handled this year. So as you can see, we're going to start off with a paper application. It is going to be via a website called Qualtrics, very similar to Google Forms. It is a little bit condensed as it has been in years past. We wanted to give as many people the opportunity to apply as possible. These applications will open on February 1st and they are going to close on March 1st, and that is a pretty tough deadline. If you're selected, we're going to be reviewing applications as a council, and if you are selected to move on to the next round, we will start conducting our phone interviews. That is going to be with 2 YLC members and then one of the applicant, or if you're the applicant. This is where we're going to be able to talk, get to know you a little bit better, and have an in-person or phone interview. And then after all of these things have commenced, we will begin scoring the applications and sending out decisions whenever we are able to complete all of that. So some of the expectations that I want to talk about that we're looking for in applicants are responsible for the goals and initiatives set forth by the council. And what that means is we meet pretty regularly where we're talking about where we're going to be doing next, what we're working on, what direction we're supposed to be taking our initiatives in. You have to be able to serve a 2-year term and then attend annual in-person meetings at leadership conference. Obviously, that's tentative in regard to COVID, but that is one of the expectations. So some of the qualifications to be applicable to apply for the YLC are chapter leader in the Best Buddies High School, College Chapter, and or State National Global Ambassador Network. So all of you here seem to be in a position of leadership within your chapter, so that is all good and well. A strong commitment to the Best Buddies mission. So definitely, like Tanya was saying, this is the top of the ecosystem. This is the most, honored position to be a part of the YLC. And we want everybody to have that opportunity, but you have to have a strong commitment. And then proven leadership, communication, and organizational skills. With any international council, especially with COVID, a lot of it is done virtually. Therefore, you must self-pace yourself and you have to stay, very motivated. And then international applicants, it's not applicable to this, but if you have any questions, please reach out to us via Instagram, via the YLC email account, reach out to one of us. I'm sure you can find our social medias pretty easily, but we are here to answer any questions you may have. As you can see, we have a pretty strong standing in the state of Texas, so we'd like to continue that on. So definitely get your applications in, and we can't wait to start reviewing them. If you want to move over to the next slide, that would be great.
Well, thank y'all, Zach and Tanya. So I just want to give y'all a quick rundown of what the structure, the initiative cohorts that we have, and then kind of like what the 3 of us have kind of done this past year. And to put a little bit of context, this is 3 out of about like 20, 21 students on the council. So this can give you an idea of like how broad our impact is on the organization. So as you can see, we have a staff liaison that is an individual on staff from BBI that helps support the communication between us and the rest of staff in Best Buddies. Then we have the chair, that's myself. We have co-chairs that are the leads over the different cohorts. And then we have initiatives broken down between those different cohorts. And you can see like the list of the initiatives below. An initiative is just a project that chapter leader members of the YLC work on throughout the year that better help spread the mission of Best Buddies. But I'm going to go through a list of different things that Tanya, Zach, and I have done this past year to kind of give you all a bigger idea or better idea of like what we've done over the last year. So Tanya was involved in the Student Advisory Board initiative, the Ambassador, Diversity and Equity in Social Media. She currently runs our Instagram account, and she was selected by the YLC leadership, that's the chairs, to present at an international conference hosted by MUN Impact on the wealth inequalities within the IDD community. Zach, who is a first-year member, was on the expansion chapter in underserved communities and social media. And he was also on the HBCU initiative. He currently runs our LinkedIn account. Throughout the year, he was selected by the chairs to join the HBCU initiative and was tasked to open HBCU chapters throughout the country to improve the level of diversity we have within the organization. And we are currently in the works of opening a chapter at Prairie View A&M. As for myself, this past year has been a transition year for my position. I officially started in January, so this January, and my term goes all the way to 2024, so it's a 2-year term. While I was undergoing training, I was leading 5 chair initiatives. Those 5 was Chatter, Grassroots, HBCU, Model UN Impact, and Accessibility. Our HBCU initiative, that's the one I just mentioned above, that was about 4 members on the council who have worked amazing, and we are on the cusp of opening a new HBCU chapter. Chatter is the new platform on BP360 that you may be familiar with. If you aren't aware, it's a communication forum where you can ask questions that the YLC and members and staff members and Best Buddies will help answer any questions you have about your chapter. And the YLC also posts resources pretty often in that chat. And then the next 3 is the MUN Impact, which is an international organization that pushes the mission of the Model United Nations of Sustainable Development Goals. I was tasked by David Quillen, if you're not familiar who that is, that's the VP of the Senior Vice President of Best Buddies, to formulate a relationship between MUN Impact and Best Buddies YLC. As of a couple weeks ago, MUN Impact and Best Buddies International are now official partnerships, which is a really cool opportunity because this allows the YLC and international platform to talk openly about a lot of the inequalities within that still exists within the IDD community. And then our last 2, Grassroots and Accessibility. Grassroots is an initiative that encourages state offices throughout the country to select YLC members to speak at state events, such as this one today. Friendship walks, galas, stuff like that. It helps with our leadership development and speaking opportunities. And then finally is accessibility. The YLC created a project proposal that listed out short-term and long-term goals that would guide Best Buddies friendship walks standards to follow better accessibility practices. As of last couple weeks ago, BBI is officially adopting many of our proposals, which is super exciting because that just kind of goes right into our mission of the YLC, that we are helping provide a student perspective and to help guide the organization into a more equitable, inclusive organization. I just want to thank you all again for giving us the opportunity. And like Zach said, reach out to us on social media. You can email us at ylc@bestbuddies.org for any questions. And thank you all again.
That was amazing. Yes, if y'all are interested in the YLC, definitely check out their page. Okay.
All right, so now I'm going to introduce Amy. Amy is a senior at Bishop Lynch High School, and she's also co-president of the North Texas Student Advisory Board and helped start the SAB in Texas.
Hi, everyone. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what the SAB is, like who we are and what we do. So we have two SABs in Texas. So we have one in North Texas and then one in Houston as well. So I'm going to wait for the screen to load real quick. So like Riley said, this is my 3rd year on the SAB. Yay, Tanya. I started with Tanya 3 years ago. So yeah. Okay.
All right, guys, technical difficulties.
Just wait 1 minute. Okay, so while we wait for that, I guess I'll just go ahead and get started. So just about like who the SAB is. So the SAB is an elite group of best buddies, student leaders. So any of y'all and ambassadors in Texas who work to bridge the gap between the student and staff perspective and experience in Best Buddies Texas. So the whole purpose of the Student Advisory Board is to bridge the gap between the student experience and the staff perspective here in Texas. So what does the SAB do? So the SAB students will work towards accomplishing the initiatives set forth, there we go, at the beginning of the year. And these initiatives include like working together to create like training videos, write informative blog posts, and host virtual events for other Best Buddy chapter leaders and members. So those are some of the initiatives that we've done in the past. And then this year, one initiative that we're working on is the SAB hotline. So what the SAB hotline is it's a resource for all of y'all to use as like a resource to contact either a Best Buddies staff member or a student advisory board member. So if you have any questions about your chapter or upcoming Best Buddy events, you can like ask us about that and we can like answer those. So I totally recommend like taking a screenshot or like a picture of the link, and it's like a Google Forms, so it's super simple, and like submitting those forms. So now we're gonna play a video. It's like a Meet the SAB video, and then afterwards, Riley is gonna be talking about how you can get involved with the SAB next year.
Okay, bear with me. I'm going to play it. I'm not sure if I correctly made it to where the sound is going to play, so y'all let me know if you can hear it.
Hi everyone, my name is Amy Gibson. I am one of the co-chairs.
Y'all can hear it? Okay, great.
Chairs for the North Texas Student Advisory Board, as well as
Okay, I think we lost sound.
Victoria, I think you have to unmute yourself to have the audio.
I'm sorry. That's my bad. I won't back. So sorry.
At Bishop Lynch High School. Hi, my name is Sabrina Turns, and I'm the chapter president of Colleyville Heritage High School, and we make up the engagement committee. Our initiative is the SAB hotline, which is the creation of a resource for student leadership to be able to contact Best Buddy staff as well as those on the student advisory board in case they have any questions regarding their chapter, future events, or anything Best Buddies related.
Hi guys, my name is Christie. I serve as the treasurer of the Liberty High School Best Buddies chapter, and I am a first-year member on the SAB. I'm a part of the Parent Engagement Initiative, and our goal is to show parents and chapters how parents can be involved in Best Buddies to make the most of the friendships and experience all that Best Buddies has to offer.
Hello, my name is Evelyn Garlish. I attend Toliver Heritage High School, and I currently serve as junior representative of my chapter. This is my first year on the Student Advisory Board, and within the SAB, I work on the Parent Engagement Initiative. Our recent accomplishments include creating and hosting a presentation about peer, buddy,
in chapter communication to parents of Best Buddies participants all across Texas.
Hi, my name is Mandy McDaniel, and I'm Vice President of the Rockwell Heath Best Buddies chapter. This is also my first year serving on the North Texas SAB board, and I'm one of our co-chairs. I'm also a part of the Parent Engagement Initiative, and I have a couple tips to share to help keep parents connected and involved in chapters. The first one is to volunteer at any chapter events that you can. The second one is to offer to carpool students to events, fundraisers, etc. And the third one is just having a good source of communication with your child's peer buddy. Communication is key to a good friendship.
In North Texas, we also have Alex White. He's our buddy representative and co-president of this chapter at J.J. Pierce High School, and he's a first-year member of the SAB.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabel Hughes, and I am a sophomore at Hockaday and the president of our Best Buddies chapter there. This year on the Student Advisory Board, I am on the Communications Initiative with Jenna. And on that, we've been working on getting different ways to communicate to people like chapter members, to buddies, to chapter advisors, to chapter leadership, anyone. And one of the ways in particular that we've been focusing on doing this is through Instagram, because we can get the word out really fast to a lot of people. In particular, right now, we're working on getting information out about the upcoming Friendship Ball, which is going to be super fun, and we are so excited for it. It's so nice to meet you all.
Hi, my name is Jenna Hurley, and I am a junior at Colleyville Heritage High School, and I am the vice president of my chapter. I am on the Communications Initiative with Isabel, and what we do on the Communications Initiative is work with finding new ways to communicate to members, to buddies, to chapter advisors, chapter presidents. We've been finding new ways using Instagram stories, possibly using TikToks, utilizing the emails, just finding new ways to spread the word about things that are going on. So things like Back to Best Buddies or the Fall Festival or the Friendship Ball are all things that we've been working towards to better communicate with all of you guys about the things that are happening. So, yeah.
Hi there, my name is Peyton York, and I serve as the co-chair on the Houston SAB. I go to Seven Lakes High School, and I am the parent liaison there. So today I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we do on the Houston SAB. So our first initiative is more freshman focused, so lower high school level. And we are trying to increase numbers, increase involvement for freshmen, let them know that there is something they can be involved in, and get involved in, stay involved in throughout high school. So we have some people working on video presentations, Instagram slides, just things to get the word out. And then our second one is targeted towards college freshmen. These are more pre-recorded, and we're doing pre-recorded videos from different colleges around Texas to spread out to the chapters in Houston to be able to make sure that people know that once they get to college, Best Buddies just doesn't end. And we did this last year a little bit, and it really was beneficial and cool to see that in college, there's still these open opportunities to work with Best Buddies and be engaged. So we're hoping to work with that this year and expand that more. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Maya Ali, and I'm the chapter president over at Seven Lakes High School in Katy, Texas. So some of the leadership positions I've held for Best Buddies include becoming a freshman ambassador my first year, and then secretary, and then like I said, being the chapter president. Also during that whole period of time, I've been serving on the Houston Student Advisory Board, so this is my third year, and I've gotten the opportunity to work on really cool initiatives. So this year I'm working on the Leadership Bootcamp Initiative, where I'm focusing on helping students start their journey on becoming Best Buddies leaders. So this includes younger students, so anyone like middle schoolers transitioning to high school, current freshmen, basically underclassmen, and giving them those skills to becoming the future of Best Buddies leaders. So leadership is a skill that doesn't happen overnight, but takes time and practice. And with this bootcamp, we'll be giving these students the tips they need, goal setting, and also setting them up to becoming leaders specifically for the Best Buddies organization, so then they can advocate for Best Buddies not only in their chapters, but also in the community as well. Now that initiative is going to have plenty of really cool information, so stay tuned to learn more. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Isioma Morty, and I'm the president of Best Buddies at Travis High School in Houston, Texas. I absolutely love being president there because I get to make the club my own by contributing my ideas into how everything works. But I also love it because I get to see how my members add in their own ideas and make it something that gets executed beautifully. And I am so excited to be part of the SAB this year. I've been in Best Buddies for about 3 years now, and each year I have climbed up in the officer ranks and just gotten to get more and more of myself into the club and actually gotten more involved with the decision-making process, the planning process, and all the other stuff that goes into Best Buddies. And I cannot wait to do so much more this year. As being part of the SAB, I know that we have so many initiatives going on, and it's just so exciting to actually be on this side of it instead of the other side of going to those things and participating in them. And I also get to be a part of making them. I'm so excited that I got this opportunity, and I cannot wait for all the things that we are going to do this year.
So for those that don't know, my name is Riley Knosik, and I help I'm the staff liaison for North Texas. And so just from the staff perspective, and I'll speak for Lauren too, we really enjoyed SAB so much, and the SAB has made such a difference. And just the ideas that all the students bring has been so amazing, and it's so nice for staff to hear, you know, what schools need, what resources can we provide schools with, and especially for chapter presidents and buddy directors and advisors. And so it's also just a fun time. I think we meet once a month, and so kind of how to become involved. So you serve as a 1-year term, and so this coming September, we will open up applications, and those will be sent out through Buddy Beat, all over our website, everything like that. So you'll fill out the application and make sure to take your time. We do get quite a few applicants, so take your time with it, answer the questions thoroughly. And then after that, we take the best applications and we set up interviews. They're just via Zoom. And so it's normally a staff person and then the chapter presidents. And so then we go through interviews and we just get to talk to y'all and hear why you want to be on the SAB. And your ideas and just everything like that. And then we make selections in October and have our first meeting. And so it's really cool because each SAB gets to kind of do their own thing, but we do collaborate with the other one and build off each other's ideas. And yeah, just we have a great time. So definitely, if you're interested, y'all should look at it applying in the fall.
Alrighty, lots of leadership stuff happening. So thank you to the SAB and the YLC for sharing with us all of the awesome things that y'all are doing. So a little bit more about some of our leadership programs. Generally, obviously, we have our 4 main mission pillars, and the leadership pillar is what our leadership programs fall under. So a little bit about just our leadership pillar in general. Best Buddies leadership programs educate and empower people with and without IDD to become leaders, public speakers, advocates. Best Buddies passionately believes that these programs and the participants in them can lead the effort within their communities to build a more inclusive world for people with IDD. So obviously we have the SAB, the YLC. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the ambassador program, because that also falls under our leadership pillar. So that is a program that Joaquin and myself both lead together. Right now, it's a little bit more statewide as things are still a bit in a virtual world. But the ambassador program is for participants with and without IDD. You can be 5 years old, you can be 55. There's no age requirement or limit on, who can be involved. So the ambassador program is essentially a series of trainings that we host on different topics, and those topics can look like public speaking, how to write a speech. We do some general interest trainings as well. So we've hosted a few trainings on like how to build a LinkedIn profile, how to communicate with others, social media etiquette. So it's all really great skills that you're building, but you're also getting to interact with other leaders in the Best Buddies community, which is really great. You get to meet lots of really awesome people. And then we also host social events as well every month. So these trainings typically happen once a month. And then we also have a social component as well. Again, those have been virtual. All of our stuff is typically via Zoom, but We are very excited to hopefully in the near future start hosting all of these awesome trainings regionally and in person. So that is kind of our ambassador program in a nutshell. And then these are just some ways that you guys can get involved. Obviously, the YLC and the SAB mentioned ways that you can get involved with that and the awesome things that they're doing and how you can be a part of it. But also just joining the ambassador program. As I mentioned, this is for people and participants with and without IDD. You can be in high school, you could be in college, you know, there's lots of different ways to get involved, and joining that program is really great if you are aspiring to develop your leadership skills a little bit more and becoming a trained leader for inclusion. Also, you can reach out to any of the current SAB members or your program manager about how to apply for things like the Student Advisory Board or the YLC. And then we also just encourage you, if you are getting involved in some of these programs, to encourage your peers, encourage some of your chapter members or your friends to get involved with you. And something that we will probably talk about in the coming months or so, or weeks, a lot sooner, is a new goal that we're trying to identify within our chapters to develop our ambassador program. So obviously we have our chapter officers, and all of you are incredible leaders for the Best Buddies community. But something that we are trying to do is maybe start identifying some more of your chapter members to actually get involved in these programs, specifically the ambassador program. So I would love it if, you know, whenever you're considering applications for next year or talking about your officer pool and, you know, who's going to be taking over, to also start identifying, you know, members that you think would be great to get involved in the SAB or the YLC or the ambassador program, just so that you guys can really, like I mentioned, develop your leadership skills and really get involved in spreading our mission. So that is something that our program managers will talk with you more about specifically very soon. So I just wanted to throw that out there and give a little plug to the ambassadors because it's a really great program. So I will now, we are about to do some more leadership conversations. So we are going to have some breakout rooms, but first I would like to introduce our newest team member in Texas, Rusty Toliver. He is the area director, so I will let him take over.
Thank you, Victoria. Howdy, everyone. Sorry, I missed the first bit of this. Like Victoria said, I'm really excited to be here in Austin and finally have boots on the ground here, and to get to know everybody in these chapters. I know we have some big chapters in Central Texas, and we're looking for some more. So hopefully, I know everything's virtual for now, but hopefully when some of these kickoffs happen for Best Buddies Month, we'll be out and about and get to meet face to face.
Thank you, Rusty. We're so excited to have more Best Buddies chapters and, you know, growing so much in the Central Texas area, specifically in Austin. So thank you so much. And then I think now Joaquin has been creating the breakout rooms for this these leadership topics that we're going to talk about. So in just a moment, you will get put into a breakout room. We will have some members from the YLC and the SAB in these rooms as well. So you guys can ask questions. We will be putting some questions in the chat for you guys to talk about while you're in the breakout rooms. So just make sure that you are, you know, cameras on and, you know, chatting with one another. They are going to be in a bit smaller groups, so this will be a really great opportunity for you guys to all share ideas and talk about things that are coming up. So
okay, so you guys will be in there for 10 minutes is the amount of time that we've scheduled all of these breakout rooms to happen. If anybody has a question, there's like a box you can click on and I can assist if there's any technical issues. But everyone is assigned a room now, so you guys should each join in now.
Is everyone back in from the breakout rooms? Do we still have people in breakout rooms?
I think everybody's back.
Alrighty, well, I didn't want to click the slide next until everybody was back in because we have some really fun topics coming up. So I'm going to toss it over to Tucker now to talk about Friendship Ball.
Hello, everyone. I am Tucker. My pronouns are he, him, his. I work alongside Rusty in the Central Texas area. And I just work as the program manager of expansion. So working really hard to build a lot of relationships with like-minded organizations in Central Texas and open as many schools as possible so we can get Best Buddies rolling even more in Central Texas. But I'm going to be talking about the Friendship Ball. The theme this year is Let It Glow, which will be really fun. We encourage you to bring some glow sticks, any glowing attire that you may have, or just some neon clothes. Real quick, we are doing King and Queen nominations for that, which I think they will be dropping a link for the nomination in the chat. On this nomination link, it will, we want you to say who you're nominating, which region they are in, and for the position of king or queen. And right here on the bottom left side, it has just the dates and times for each of the Friendship Balls. For North Texas and Houston, I have the addresses under there. We'll be sending you this information too. Central Texas, we were planning on having it in early February as well, but Austin is in stage 5 of COVID. And so we wanted to kind of err on the side of caution and ensure everyone's health that would be going. So we moved it to the end of March, and we're waiting on more places to open back up. That's why the location is to be decided. But we will, of course, keep y'all up to date on that. And March 26th is Best Buddies Month. So that will be kind of an event we'll be having for Best Buddies Month too. But I believe Best Buddies Month is the next slide. So.
Yes, so before we get into that, in the previous slide, the locations for both of those balls are correct, but Highland Park is in North Texas and Seven Lakes is in Houston. That information is correct, just switch that information around. But if you go to the website and you check any of the information that we send out there, you'll see them under the correct region. Everything else is correct though. Okay, so for Best Buddies Month, some of you guys are familiar with it, some of you maybe not, but in a nutshell, we celebrate this annually throughout the entire month of March. The month represents a time for our participants to honor their friendships, share their goals of inclusion with their community, and spread awareness about the Best Buddies mission. And we do that in a variety of ways. For the first week of the month, we will be setting out different challenges and goals, and Best Buddies International will also send information as we get closer to the month. But as far as what we send out here in Texas, just look out for any messages your program managers send out to you. And also later in the month, in each area where our officers are at, we plan to host a kickball event that will be open to all the chapters, as well as the community that they're each located in. We have a challenge that we have kind of set right now, and we'll get this information out there again when we get closer to March, so you'll get reminders. But most schools have like a banner that's filled with signatures from people in their school, in their chapter, other students, through this program called Spread the Word to End the Word, ending the R word. So our challenge to you would be to have as many other school club participants to also sign this banner or petition to end that word. So just something to keep in mind and an idea for you guys to have. But there'll be more information as we get closer to that month. Now we have a special guest, Deshauna Reed.
Deshauna, are you on here?
Joaquin, you're going to have to press that link.
Oh, I'm sharing my screen, so I'll press
I'm
it.
sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay.
Deshauna is one of our advisors, and she's going to be talking to you today about individuals with IDD.
Is Deshauna still on here? I saw her earlier and she had put a message in the chat.
Yeah, I saw her earlier as well, and I don't see her now.
Right. So while we figure this out, we were going to break, I'm pretty sure, after this. So we will go ahead and take a short break now for about 5 minutes. So if you guys need a bathroom break, need a snack, whatever you need to do, and just let all these awesome ideas and thoughts into your head, let them flow. So we will break and we will be back in just a moment. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, as I mentioned, my name is Deshauna Reed, and I actually am the chapter advisor at Morton Ranch High School in Katy ISD. I'm really excited about the things that our chapter has done, especially considering this is my first year as a chapter advisor. A little bit of background before I get into what I have to present to you all. My career in education has spanned over 10 years. Much of that time has been working with students in special education programs ranging from PPCD, which is the preschool program for children with disabilities, and now I'm in an 18+ transition classroom in which I work with students that have exited high school but have not exited the programming that they are afforded according to federal law. And so that's where I am currently serving. Also, on the outside of my position at Morton Ranch, I also am a board certified advocate for special education. And so what that really long and short means is I took the extra time to gain credentials in order to become a special education advocate to assist parents in understanding the IEP process, the different assessments that are involved in terms of services that are available to their student, and also just helping them navigate different areas. Maybe there's a dispute or some challenges, and I also can represent parents at our meetings if they need me to. So I have a very long history with special education, and that tie actually comes directly from my family. My older sister is with autism, and so I grew up in a household with someone who does have an intellectual disability. And so working with my sister over the years has been really, really great. She is 17 years older than I am, but you wouldn't imagine that we're that far apart in age. And so I look forward to being able to see her soon enough. Of course, COVID has kind of thrown a wrench in that, but nonetheless, hopefully I'll get to see her again really, really soon. So she's the inspiration for why I am in special education and why I'm so passionate about it. So long and short, the overview of what I have really has to do with outlining what the IDD actually is, which is an intellectual disability or disorder, what the commitment is as a buddy, how to communicate with your buddy effectively, different activities that you can do with your buddies, some do's and don'ts, and confidentiality and boundary setting. So these are things that I worked with my chapter on at the very beginning. I developed this training for them so that they had an idea of what to do, because part of the challenge for new chapter members coming in who don't have any experience working with individuals with different disorders, they don't really know how to communicate. It's not that they don't want to, it's just they're not really sure how to navigate that process. And so I created this. So Long and short, in Best Buddies, we know that what we do is we match buddies of similar interests. We do our best to do that, at least at the chapter level. And I know that they do that also at the collegiate level and in Best Citizens. We learn about what makes us unique. For me, at least in our chapter, that is extremely important for us to know. Yes, we do have some things that are different about us, but it's what makes us unique. And those are the connections really that help us build better communication and just overall more equity and inclusive practices. We share experiences and activities. We are connecting with other buddy pairs or buddy families. If you have groups of students that are matched with more than one buddy, we advocate for inclusion for all, which is, of course, part of the overall mission of Best Buddies International. And we have fun. We have a lot of fun, actually. So next slide. So what are IDDs? Okay, so they're intellectual and developmental disabilities. That's the long and short of what that is. It's quite intense when you start looking at what the federal law is, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act 2004 to be specific. And so when you're looking at that and the American Disabilities Act, it can get really hairy when you're starting to really look at what the law states. But very plainly put, their disabilities characterized by significant limitations that have to do with intellectual functioning or an adaptive behavior, and it covers a lot of everyday social and practical skills. There are different types of IDDs, and I outlined those. There are really 4 main categories for them. You can see them there on your screen. For my students in particular, the vast majority of my students are with autism, and varieties, of course, across the spectrum, because it is in fact now a spectrum. It wasn't always that way in terms of the way that it was named, but it is definitely a spectrum, and it will not appear the same in every person that you encounter. And it may be comorbid, which means it occurs along with another disorder. So there may be ADHD that is comorbid with autism, or it could be other disorders that are comorbid, but there's a lot of other ones there too. You can see them there. I don't really need to talk through all of them, but nonetheless, these are things that are really important for us to know in terms of when we are connecting with our buddies. Understanding what their exceptionalities are really helps us better understand not just who they are and where they're coming from, but it also helps us better advocate on behalf of other individuals with intellectual disabilities and disorders. So why is it important? It's not necessary for you to fully understand what their diagnosis or their disorder is, but it is helpful because it opens the line of communication. Thinking back on my personal experience, and of course, working with parents who were major advocates in the special education community and in the community at large in general, back in the 1960s, prior to there being existing laws for individuals with special needs. They were very instrumental in getting lots of different things passed in the military services, as well as in the state of Texas in terms of individuals with disabilities. But it was important to them in particular that individuals asked questions, as opposed to being fearful of my sister or other individuals similar to her, asking questions and opening the conversation, because she's a real regular human being that just happens to have exceptionalities that make it difficult for her to be able to communicate like a neurotypical individual would do. So opening the conversation and being honest about it is the best thing that we can do to minimize the stigma attached to communicating with individuals with disabilities. The buddy commitment on my campus, and those that are on the call that are in my chapter can attest to the fact that I am absolutely no nonsense about this. At the bare minimum, weekly is when they should be communicating with their buddies. Some may even do so daily. I do have some that actually connect with their buddies that are in my classroom 3 times a week, which I think is absolutely beautiful. But that's the basis for forming any lasting relationship, is that you nurture it and you make it a point to be there for that person. And so you're committing to also, as a buddy, attend chapter events with your buddy, not just by yourself. Obviously, it's called Best Buddies, not Best Self, right? So you want to make sure that you are actually doing those things with your buddy. Sometimes it might be on campus, it might be off campus, it might be during school hours, not school hours. And of course, it's understandable that as high school and even as college students, you have very busy schedules, but we make time for the things that are important to us. And so when we prioritize spending time with our buddies, that really makes that lasting friendship truly a reality. So communicating with your buddy, best ways to communicate. This has been in my personal experience, and this has also been in my experience as an educator. Before you get ready to communicate with your buddy, you want to keep these things in mind. Is your buddy verbal or nonverbal? Because that will impact the way that you communicate with them. Do they sign? Do they have assistive technology such as an iPad? Do they have another device such as a switch that they can use? So that's important for you to know. In other words, you want to make sure that you're able to communicate with them in a way that's meaningful and also comfortable for you. Do they prefer to meet in person at school or outside of school? That's where your parent liaisons come in. That's where having that open line of communication between parents and the members of the chapter is extremely important, because there may be certain time constraints or transportation constraints in which they may not be able to spend time with you outside of school. So the best time for you to do that is during the school day. Do you prefer to meet person or outside of school? You need to know yourself, you need to know your schedule and know what you can and cannot commit to, and be honest and open with your buddy about that, and make those connections in ways that make the most sense for you and for them. And then also consider, does your buddy have a cell phone? Some, I know from my students, because of their ages, some of them do have cell phones, others do not. And so it just really all depends. And you want to eliminate any excuses to not be able to communicate with your buddy. So if they don't have a cell phone, is there some other way that you can meet with them? Maybe during lunchtime, maybe first thing in the morning. Maybe if you have to stay for an organization, and it'll still be within a time where your buddy may be on campus because their parent comes to pick them up, that might be the perfect time for you to be able to connect with them. Some different buddy activities really all depend on your shared and your individual interests. You have to be honest about the things that are interesting and exciting for you, but find out that information from your buddy too. They have a voice, and they should also be allowed choice in what it is that you choose to do with them. And so you want to get to know what their likes and dislikes are. Sometimes, at least I know at the high school level and maybe even at the college level, I know that I am a very open door policy teacher, and I know that other teachers on my campus are very much in that way. And of course, there's certain things that we cannot communicate because you don't have an educational need, and there's a federal law that has to do with not divulging personal information that could be considered a student's educational record. But certain things such as, like, what's my buddy's favorite color? Do they really like superheroes? And if so, which superhero do they really like? Is there something in particular that they're working on, but they're kind of shy to do it, such as maybe reading, that maybe I could do with them? That would be a really cool activity for them to do. Are they working on counting money? Okay, well, that's cool. That's something that we could do. We could do that whenever we, I don't know, go to a movie together. Hey, do you have your money with you? Let's see, do you know what we need to pay for this? Just different other things that would be helpful for them in their regular life outside of school as well as in. Some other activities that you can do: board games, card games, video games. Making crafts is a really, really cool activity to do. And there's so many different places out there now that are available for you to go with your buddy to do things, such as places like Painting with a Twist or ceramics painting places. You also can find some really, really inexpensive canvases at Five Below. Get some markers or get some watercolors or some paint, and that's something that you all could do together. I try to make things as inexpensive or free as possible for my chapter members so they don't have to worry about going out and spending money. So coming up with things that you can make instead of buy, DIY stuff. You could also go to sporting events, especially ones that are going on your campus. Especially if your buddy is still in middle school and you, of course, are still in middle school, or if you're in high school and you are in a sport such as football, basketball, cheerleading, golf, whatever it is, invite them to attend your events. That includes them in their community, and that is more important than I think anyone really truly realizes. It's something that we take for granted, but oftentimes individuals with intellectual disabilities and disorders are excluded from those things because the belief is that they may not be interested in or may not be able to follow what's going on. But in order to break that stigma and change that mindset, doing as much as possible to be as inclusive as possible is really where the strength lies. So inviting them to different activities and things that you do, movies or restaurants, are also really great. Some do's and don'ts that I developed for my chapter: do try to connect with your buddy's parent and make sure that you have a relationship established with them, of course, in a way that is appropriate, but you at least want them to know who you are. And you could also find out from the parent, how best does their student communicate? Is there something in particular that's a trigger point for them that you don't want to breach? Is there something in particular that would be more helpful in being able to communicate and connect with them? Make the time to spend at least 30 minutes doing your first meetup is what I have told my students. The trick to that is you may not have 30 uninterrupted minutes. So at our school, we have what's called Focus, and it's 30 minutes in length, and it's a period where students are doing character lessons, or they may be working on assignments for other classes, but that's also when we hold our buddy meetings and some of our buddy meetups. And so being very intentional about spending that time, especially on your first visit, is extremely important. You can get creative, however, and you could do that broken into 3 10-minute sessions. Maybe you won't be able to sit there for 30 uninterrupted minutes, but you have 10 minutes before school when you would be surfing your phone anyway, or 10 minutes during your lunch period where you may or may not be eating something, and maybe 10 minutes on your way out of the building, or maybe spread out across different ways. Fill in the blank for what works best for you, but making it a point to be intentional about communicating and connecting as often as possible is extremely important. Check in with your buddy at least 2 to 3 times per week. 10 to 15 minutes or more, like I just outlined for you, is a pretty great way. Even something as simple as sending a text, because I know that that's kind of more the thing that's popular with students. Send a quick text. Hey, I was just thinking about you. How's your day going? Or, hey, just wanted to check in. Let's meet up on Saturday. Or however it is that you choose to word that. But something as simple as that is extremely important and really does make your buddy's day. Link up with each other and other chapter members at other campuses is extremely important. I know that for me, it's pretty busy professionally and personally because I do have so many other things going on. But I would love to be able to connect with the other high schools in my district that are having events. So when we have our friendship ball, that'll probably be the first time that I've been able to see one of the instructors from the other high school since we had our last district level training meeting. It gets pretty hectic when you're an instructor, but nonetheless, that's really important. Being able to connect with other chapters is super duper important in being able to expand the community, because also what has a tendency to happen with individuals with certain intellectual disabilities and disorders is their community is very small. They're used to everything being within the realm of their household and maybe the few friends that they have at school. But expanding the community outward and giving them the opportunity to have outreach and connections with people outside of the ones that they normally see is extremely important. That's also something that we as neurotypical individuals tend to take for granted. We're used to just being able to walk down the street and communicate with whomever it is that we choose, if we so choose. But individuals with intellectual disabilities and disorders have a very difficult time doing so. And so bridging that gap between the regular community at large and your buddy is extremely important. Some don'ts. Do not ignore your buddy by spending time on your phone during meetups. Unless you guys are playing a simultaneous game, there's really no need for you to be that level of disconnected with them. Face-to-face interaction and communication is extremely important, especially for individuals that have communicative disorders, and especially for individuals who are on the autism spectrum. Sometimes a lack of eye contact is normal because that's one of the challenges that exists. But if you're disconnected in your communication with them face-to-face, it makes it very difficult to establish that relationship connection, period. And so linking those two things together by staying connected with them while you're meeting is extremely important. Don't change meetup days and times with your buddy without prior notice. I know for my students in particular, schedule is the ruler of the day, and springing unknown or unnecessary changes on them is not a good thing by any means at all. Naturally, things happen, and sometimes your schedule has to shift, but doing as much prompting as possible and keeping consistency key throughout your relationship is extremely important. If you do have to change something, make sure that you communicate it with your buddy and also give them the rationale for why. It may or may not take them longer times to process that information, but at least you have given them a heads up. Hey, I know we normally meet on Thursdays, but I have a test that day. So can we meet on Wednesday or on Tuesday instead, especially if you know in advance that you have something, and giving them voice and choice in when they're going to have the opportunity to interact with you also helps to soften the blow of having to have an abrupt schedule change. Do not refer to your buddy as anything other than their name or an acceptable nickname, mainly out of just respect for who they are as human beings, right? Nobody wants to be called anything other than that. Not just, hey, my buddy such and such over there. Maybe not. Don't do that. Just make sure that you make it a point to know who they are, what they prefer to be called, and what they do not like to be called. You don't want to unnecessarily trigger someone. Don't assume that your buddy cannot do things because of their disability. You would be absolutely amazed at the things that your buddies are capable of doing when they're given the opportunity to just feel like a member of the community. If they're allowed for just a moment to forget or to not fixate on their disability and just be whoever they are, gosh, the humanizing that happens in that situation is immense. And that is something that they will carry with them for long after their buddy time with you. So don't assume that they cannot do things. Allow them to do things on their own and help them learn how to advocate for themselves, because that also has a tendency to be a challenge for certain individuals with disorders and disabilities. They don't usually have the opportunity to advocate for themselves because someone is usually speaking for them or anticipating their needs. But helping to develop that level of independence by giving them the opportunity to do things on their own and then ask for your assistance is extremely important. Do not hug or otherwise touch your buddy without their consent. Yes, even if it's bump or a high five, they may or may not pick up on the social cues of what it is that you're attempting to do with them. And so you want to make sure that they know and they have the ability to anticipate what it is that you're going to do. So rather than just walk up and hug your buddy, you want to say, hey, such and such, whatever their name is, fill in the blank. Is it okay if I give you a hug today? Because they may or may not. And just like the rest of us who are neurotypical, we sometimes have days where we just don't want to be touched and we don't want to be bothered. And so making sure that you understand that they are a human before they're someone with a disability is extremely important. So making sure that you stay within their physical boundaries is also really important. Confidentiality and boundaries is also another one that is extremely important for us to be aware of. Many of our buddies will grow to love us, some instantaneously and some over time. And during those times, they may or may not have a tendency to share sensitive information with you. Do not share any personal information about your buddy, their family, nor their disorder with anyone outside of your relationship. Again, the caveat to that is if you're talking with their instructor and you're wanting to know about specific activities, likes, dislikes, things of that sort, perfectly fine, but do not communicate things that your buddy divulges to you unless it is something that indicates that they are in some sort of danger or they are a danger to themselves or others. And you also want to make sure that you're super respectful of the fact that they may or may not have photo and video releases. So please don't take pictures of your buddy without their consent. And if you're not sure whether or not they can give you consent, then you want to make sure that you tap into that relationship that you have with their parent or guardian so that you can find out if it is okay for you to take photos of and with your buddy. That is something that is extremely important. And that really goes into more who can speak on behalf of that student. When they're minors under the age of 18, they cannot legally provide you consent with being able to photograph them. So you want to make sure that you talk with your buddy's instructor or with their parent to find out if you're allowed to do so. If they are over the age of 18, if their parent has guardianship, then they can tell you whether or not they want their adult child to be photographed and that presented on social media or anywhere else. If they are over the age of 18, if your buddy rather is over the age of 18 and their parent does not have guardianship, then legally they can give you consent to photograph them or decline being photographed. You just want to make sure that you know the parameters that you can operate within them in terms of photographing and videoing. And then the last thing, you want to make sure that you don't post videos or photos on social media without their consent. Still in all, just like a neurotypical individual, you should not be videotaping nor taking pictures of people without their consent and posting it on social media for privacy reasons. But especially for individuals with disabilities and disorders, you want to make sure that you are very cognizant of that and that you respect them and their personal privacy. You want to keep all of your conversations appropriate and focused on your friendships. Yes, you very well may have some that are in dating relationships or want to be in dating relationships, or may find someone of the opposite gender attractive or of the same gender attractive. Those conversations are bound to happen when you're having a normal friendship conversation with anyone. But nonetheless, when you are communicating with your buddy in particular, you don't want to go down that road with them to advise them or discourage them in any way. Just being a good, solid friend and focusing on the positivity of your friendship is extremely important. Also understanding that there's a reality that there's some drawbacks that come with friendships and certain interactions, but still in all, keep the communication about you and your friendship and the things that are going great for the both of you. And then also I encourage my chapter members, as well as parents and families that I work with outside of my job, notify your sponsor or someone else who is responsible for that student or the adult learner if you feel uncomfortable with information that was shared with you by your buddy. So for example, if they divulge something that speaks to there may be some level of abuse or some unsafe environment that they are in, you want to communicate that with the proper authorities. You want to communicate that with the proper person that will be able to assist you in that situation. Teachers, for example, are mandatory reporters. And so in the event that your buddy does share something that alarms you, that may speak to some level of, like I said, abuse or some unsafe environment, you can communicate that information with them and they can guide you through the next steps for that. I think that about covers it. But make sure that you remember our purpose is to form meaningful connections with our peers, to gain self-confidence and self-esteem, to share interests, and more importantly than anything else, we stand for inclusion for all. So I appreciate you all asking me to speak. If you have any questions, I can take those, but I do have to scoot off to another speaking engagement about this very thing. Someone else actually asked me to come and speak to their organization about this very thing. So.
Thank you so much, Deshauna. That was awesome. That was a great presentation.
You're welcome. I'm always happy to help.
All right, let me get the conversation or the presentation back up for Friendship Walk. Let's see. There we go. All right.
Okay. Are we ready? It's Friendship Walk season and it's so exciting. I am so excited to talk about Friendship Walk right now because it is in person this year. We have plans for North Texas, Houston, and Central Texas to be in person this year. If you'll look on the screen, here are the locations. It is so exciting. I am so excited to see everybody in person, see your smiling faces, and walk for our wonderful mission and cause. So here's kind of what our Friendship Walk day looks like. You'll probably arrive around between 10 and 11. And that's when you come in and register. That's where you will check in. And if you raise over $50, you'll get your walk shirt. And then we'll start with our opening ceremonies, give our little spiel. And then around 11:30, we'll start walking. It's not a very long walk. It's less than half a mile. But still, you're walking for a wonderful cause. You're there with all of your chapter members. or everybody who can go. I know some chapters like to get a bus and all go together. Some chapters also have tents or booths at the actual walk to do fun activities or to give out swag, that sort of thing. So it's very, very exciting. And then after the walk, we're gonna do a party in the park, which is where we'll have all the booths, all the music, we'll do awards. So very exciting time. Take a look at that QR code. That's the link to our, Texas Friendship Walk, and then you can narrow down by where you are regionally. Could you go to the next slide, Victoria?
It is not letting me click to the next slide for some reason. Oh, there we go.
Yay! Okay, so the reason why you're all here, no, just kidding. We have awards at our Friendship Walk, which is so amazing that we are able to recognize everybody who does an amazing job throughout the year and for the Friendship Walk. So here's kind of our overview. We have our chapter of the year, and that we're looking at what you did during the semesters, your officer team, social media, everything as a whole, and fundraising. Social media, a lot of you are on social media. I see a lot of Instagram, a lot of Twitter that y'all use, so that's awesome. We'll be able to award the Social Media Spirit Award. Buddy Pair of the Year, that is a very special pair. So all of these are regionally, and the buddy pairs will be somebody within the region. So Houston, North Texas, and Central Texas. The Comeback Kid Award, that is somebody who does a really great job fundraising, or their chapter hasn't been doing so great in the last couple of years, and then this year they went full out. The Rookie Chapter of the Year, that's somebody brand new, the chapters. So that's always exciting to see new chapters coming together, participating in the Friendship Walk. We love to see you out there. So we will be giving a Rookie Chapter of the Year award. Chapter President of the Year, that is a president who goes above and beyond their duties, is a great leader, gets their chapter excited, gets involved in the community, and has a really good time fundraising. And then again, our Advisor of the Year, we have so many wonderful advisors who take this on, no questions asked. They are staying late, coming in early. They are there for the officer team and the chapter as a whole. So we definitely want to recognize them. So that's the awards. I'm so excited. We will be talking about how to get your walk page started in the next couple slides. And then you can start fundraising. Now is the time. Start early. And I'm going to pass it off to Riley.
So yeah, we just really want to get y'all excited. So you will register your team as a school and then work on it together. You can do individually if you want. If you're really passionate and you're good at networking, you can do your own too. So you can do a school, or also, say you're on a soccer team, or, something like that, or something completely outside of school. You can create your own team, or if you're working or something like that. So it's totally up to you. You start fundraising, make it fun. You'll have your own specific page. And so people will be able to donate on your page. And so then you'll get credit and you don't even have to worry about anything. It's super nice. And so the kickoff parties. So this is for, especially if you're doing a school one, then you can do kickoff party at your school, or you could do like a profit share night with a local business or something like that. And yeah, can you go to the next one? Oh, okay. So I'll share a little more after the video. what Friendship Walk will look like. I know that we have a lot of new schools, and then also a lot of us have been virtual for the past few years. So I know there's going to be a big group of us that have never been to a Friendship Walk. And so that's really exciting. But also I know it can be confusing and there's a lot going on. So feel free, you can always reach out to any of us. We're happy to help and help you figure it out. And so we really just want to create a team atmosphere. This is supposed to be fun and exciting. So just feel free to reach out to the community for support, other organizations at your school, sports teams, academic clubs, PTA, admin. We were talking in our breakout rooms about all the girls had so many good ideas. I was blown away. And so just figuring out, what works, what makes sense for your school, what do people love at your school, and different things like that. And then also just make sure, I know I am a planner and I like to do things myself, but make sure you're delegating your task and talk to other people in your officer team and just in your chapter in general. Everyone wants to help and they want to be involved and be a part of it. So delegate things, and also, the more people, the bigger the impact. And then lastly, so in the past few years, because of COVID, we've kind of just said everyone can go and do more of their own walk for the schools and everything. And so now we really want to focus on, you can have a launch party for your school and make it really fun, exciting, however big you want. But then we really want to encourage all the schools to come to the regional walk, because we really want it to be one big walk. We all walk together and we all get to celebrate. We'll do the awards and the food and the games and everything. So we really encourage y'all to have your own kickoff parties, but then come to the regional walk.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I am excited to jump on and talk to you guys more about WALK. Lauren and Riley got you all pumped up, and I'm here to do the same. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Courtney Lyons. I am our Deputy Director of Development here in North Texas. So yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit more about WALK and about fundraising for the WALK. But first we want to talk about Launch Week. So Launch Week is the first week of February, and that is where we are going to get everybody across the nation just pumped and excited to kick off walk season. As if you've been involved in the walks before, you know that we have national incentives for when you hit certain levels of fundraising, but those are kept under lock and key. No one, well, I can't say no one because I know what they are, but the majority of people do not know what those incentives are until this week of Launch Week. So make sure you're tuning into social media to see what those incentives are. So looking at the week and kind of how it's going to go, on Monday, February 7th, that is when the WALK t-shirt is going to be revealed. So once you hit that $50 fundraising mark, you automatically are going to get that WALK t-shirt. And then throughout the week, there's going to be different challenges and different reveals. So Tuesday, we're going to start that $100 Launch Week promotion. So you're going to have that whole week to raise $100 to not only get your shirt, but then get some more incentives and prizes as well. And then Wednesday, that's when all of the rest of the incentives are going to be revealed. And if you remember last year and what those incentives were, think bigger, think double. Even what you think then, double it again. I'm super excited about all the incentives, and I think that you guys are too. So really excited about that. And then Thursday, February 10th, we are going to be kicking off the Empower Inclusion Challenge. And if you guys remember that from last year, that is where all of our chapters have the opportunity to create a video that really kind of portrays why your chapter goes out and advocates for inclusion, why you guys are a part of Best Buddies. And then it's a competition across the nation with all of our chapters. And there's a really exciting prize for the winning chapter that will again be revealed that week. But we had like a handful of chapters participate from Texas last year, and we would love to see every single one of our chapters create a video. Not only because we want you guys to win and we want to represent Texas, but for myself, selfishly, I want to know why you guys are involved with Best Buddies. I don't get to have that face-to-face with you guys anymore now that I'm in a different role. So being able to see what you guys do as chapters is fun for me. And I know that it would be so great for your communities to see as well. And then we're also, for our jobs participants, going to have a separate challenge for them as well, which is going to be really fun. Another social media kind of video campaign, so we'll be able to see that. And then Friday, closing out the week, that final push for that $100 promotion to get you those national incentives. This week of launch week is also a really great week to host those kickoff parties that Lauren and Riley kind of talked about. And I'll go into again a little bit later on this next slide. So Victoria, can you move on to the next slide? Awesome, thank you. I will kind of go quick because I know we're running out of time. Talked about the incentives on a national level. Here in Texas, we have a lot of incentives that we'll kind of talk about leading up to the walk, but two that I wanted to talk about today was that if as a school, if you guys raise $1,000, you guys will be able to have a tent at the walk, along the walk, either along the walk line or at the party in the park. So that you guys can pass out swag, you can bring your mascots, bring the band, whatever you guys want to do to show off your school spirit, you guys will have the opportunity to do if you hit that $1,000 mark. And then if you hit the $2,500 fundraising mark, your chapter dues will be waived. So I know that that can kind of be a concern for some of our schools of, oh, we're fundraising for the walk, which we're really excited about, but we also need to fundraise for our chapter dues. So if you kind of put your teamwork together, you can knock both of those out of the park with one thing. So those are two incentives that we have. But again, throughout the next couple of months, keep an eye out on social media and in your emails and your all of your communications for some more fun incentives. So again, in order to get those incentives, register your entire chapter, get all of your chapter members registered on your team, invite friends and family to join your team. It doesn't just have to be your chapter. You know, the more people that you get that raise those small increments of dollars is going to add to your total. And then hosting those walk kickoffs with your chapters is a really great way to just get everybody excited and motivated and registered. And I know that in each region, you know, in North Texas, in Houston, and in Central Texas, we have staff that are more than happy to come out to your kickoff parties and come and celebrate with you guys, talk to you guys a little bit more about walk, answer any questions that you might have. So do not hesitate to reach out to whether it's your program managers or anybody here on staff to come and be a representative for you all. And then I'm going to throw out a challenge for you all just to start it off and a fun incentive. So for your first walk fundraising challenge, well, I guess it's a two-pronged thing. First, you got to get people registered. But then by the end of launch week, which is February 11th, the school in each region, now listen carefully because it can be confusing, the school with the most team registrants who have also raised $100 as a whole, so not each individual, but as a whole, have raised $100 will win a pizza party for your chapter provided by Best Buddies. So that will be in each region. And so everybody loves free food. Everybody loves pizza. So this is what you can start that fundraising now. So you have from now until the 11th of February to get as many people registered on your school team and to raise $100 as a team to win a pizza party. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on that. We'll be sending out some notifications just as a reminder, but get excited for that. Okay, we can go to the next slide. I just want to have a really brief conversation about fundraising because I know a lot of you are new to fundraising. And even if you're not new, fundraising can be really scary. It can be intimidating. We don't know where to start. We don't know what to do next, and that's totally okay. So if you guys have any questions about fundraising, feel free to unmute yourself, ask some questions, put it in the chat. I have some prompts up there, like if there's anything that you're really excited about, what are your fears, your concerns, or what general questions do you have about fundraising for like the next 2 minutes? Does anybody have any questions about fundraising? Concerns, what you're excited about?
I have a question, Courtney.
Yeah, Victoria.
So I am not super familiar with fundraising. So if I'm seeing so many chapters do like all kinds of awesome things, but I really just like don't know where to start. So what are some tips for just, you know, a first-time fundraiser?
Yeah, so I think that the number one thing for me is being able to tell my story. So telling people why you're involved with Best Buddies. You guys all have a reason why you have decided to join Best Buddies, to be a part of a chapter, to have a buddy, and being able to tell people why is really going to help kind of share your passion and get people engaged. And when people know why you're involved in something, they're a lot more willing to donate. So, and it doesn't even have to be like you verbally telling someone, because, you know, approaching someone can be really scary. So going on social media and making a post saying, hey, here's why I'm involved with Best Buddies, and this is why I'm asking for $1, for $5. And if you're able to really portray that story, people are going to be so able and willing to donate and to help you fundraise. I saw some questions come through the chat, so I'm going to pull that up. What is the most fun thing to engage school friends at lunchtime? That's a great question. So there's a lot of activities. Actually, Victoria, can you go to the next slide? Because that ties in perfectly with this question. There are so many activities that you can do as a school that you might not think like, oh, I can charge $1 for this, or we can have a prize for this. So like if you're looking specifically at lunchtime, you know, you could do, it says a game night, but you can have games set up and you can make it like a bracket and people can pay $1 to join this bracket. I don't think it's on this calendar that I have up here, but I have worked with schools in the past where they would do like a cornhole competition and you had to pay $1 to join the competition. Or another school that I worked with that had a blast, and it was the most simple thing, but they had a rock, paper, scissors competition. And I think they raised over $300 just doing a rock, paper, scissors competition because they were so excited about it, and they involved their entire school. They didn't just ask their buddies or their buddy chapter for participation. You know, they involved their entire school. So doing something at lunch is a great idea, or doing a bake sale during lunch, or selling your merch. You guys can create t-shirts, bracelets, pins, whatever it is, as long as they're approved, then you guys are able to sell those. That's another good thing at lunch. But then doing things after school in the community, you know, doing a give back night, doing a car wash. I know that there was a school in Houston that did a car wash last year that was really fun, and you were able to put that on social media as well. So there's so many activities, and you know, whether it's in school, out of school, that you guys can participate in and involve your community. You can also just ask people, you know, if you feel like it's appropriate, going door to door, or asking your parents who might work at a company that might be able to sponsor you guys in doing that. Let me see, I'm gonna check. Okay, so oh, what is Penny Wars? I just saw that come through. So Penny Wars is really fun. I will send out a template, like the rules on that. So Penny Wars, it's kind of hard to explain without the instructions, but essentially you donate coins, and each coin either adds or deducts from teams. So you create teams, whether it's between homerooms or grades in your school. So say you're competing juniors and seniors, excuse me, you have a jug and a penny will detract 10 points, from the other team. And if you put a quarter in the juniors, then it adds $5 or whatever it is. So it's kind of like a give and take competition. Izzy, I think that was you that asked, but I will send out some rules for Penny Wars to send out after this, because that is a really fun one because it adds in that competition as well. Okay, perfect. Yes, so I want to give everybody time to keep going, but please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am more than willing to jump on calls with you or come to your schools and kind of talk through what fundraising looks like, talk more about those ideas. I saw that Lauren put in like, what does a kickoff look like? And we don't have time to go into that, but I am more than happy to talk through what a kickoff party looks like, how we can plan that. So, you know, screenshot, take down my email, and definitely please don't hesitate to reach out. But more than anything, we're just so excited to have a walk, and I am so excited to get all of our schools out in each region. So we're excited, and get registered. Hey, thanks guys.
Okay, so we are going to kind of speed through these last parts, guys, and not take up too much of your time. My part is going to be like a very brief walkthrough on how to create your walk page, because we've been talking about it for like the last 25 minutes, and you probably don't really maybe know how to do that. So let me share my screen. And then after this, we will have a Q&A and also award the various awards for our best back to Best Buddies awards. Okay, so the first thing that you'll need to do is go to bestbuddiesfriendshipwalk.org/ and then either put North Texas, Houston, or Central Texas, and it'll take you to the page with all the information on the location, dates and times, and further things. Register, donate, a video, yada, yada, yada. People that have donated the most individually or have received the most donations going to them personally, and then the top teams for that region. So right now there's not a lot of people. Well, it only shows top 10, but when you click top 100, it will show everybody within that category. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, is register. First thing you'll see is this, kind of terms of service that you see with anything that you kind of sign up for. Get agree, of course. Fill in the information that pops up. I live in Texas, right? Okay. And then we need to know your shirt size, because if you raise $50, then you get a walk shirt. This next part here, if your chapter has already created a team and you want to go ahead and join the team, you can, if you know the name, type it in. If you don't, you can search for it by clicking that, and every team that has been created so far will show up, and you'll just click on it, and it'll register you to be part of that team while you're also registering individually, like yourself. And then kind of scrolling farther down, this donation part, this is only important if you want to go ahead and donate at the same time that you are registering. If you don't want to do that, just leave that alone, don't worry about it. And then this is where you will create a username and password, of course, to access your account that you just created for this. And to log in, you'll just have to go back to the same website, bestbuddiesfriendshipwalk.org/ North Texas, Houston, or Central Texas. And then when you do that, it should confirm, it'll say congratulations or something to that effect that you have registered, saying it's successful. I just got a little ping saying that I got an email, probably from Best Buddies, saying thank you. And then a bunch of options will come up, like the next steps. This first one is asking you to create the website or the URL for your personal donation page. Like if you want people to donate to you, that will then go into the counts for your team's donation page. You would just copy this website that you're about to create or page and send it over to them via text, email, whatever, and it'll take them straight to that. So let's see, this is just a test page. Good one. Next. Furthermore, you can add a photo. I'm not going to do that right now. Customize your page. So there is a default heading and paragraph describing what it is that this donation is going towards, and you can leave it saying what's on here, or you can erase what's on there and put your own spin on it. We would highly encourage you to do that, because that would better connect with whoever it is that's looking at your page and wanting to donate, rather than like just seeing a very generic response on there. it just helps better connect with the mission and encourage them to donate as well. Profile photo, just upload a photo whenever you can. Also, if you just skip all these or close out, you can always go back, except for the first part. You can go back and create your web page link. So I highly encourage you to do that. And then here it is. Here is the link to this page. You can copy it, paste it. You continue here and text it out to whoever you want, put it in a group chat for your chapter, letting them know perhaps, or your other friends. And then this is what you'll see when you are done with all of those steps. Overview. This will show who has donated, how much they've donated. This is what your personal page will look like and how you can edit it. Go to the little pencil here. You have a goal that's on your page. By default, it's set at $100, but you can always change that and change it to whatever amount you want. And so this is what people are going to see. Right here, it shows the team that I join. For your chapter, it will say the name of your chapter's team. And if you want to see who else is on that team, you go to View Team and check that out. So this is the other member. And this star next to it is the person that created the, or who is the team captain for your walk team page. If that needs to change, like let's say somebody created it, but they're not necessarily going to be the person in charge of maintaining the page, you will need to reach out to one of your program managers so that they can change that to whoever it is in your chapter that is going to be keeping an eye on that walk page. But that's pretty much it. Just click share here to share that information with somebody. Also, if you, let's go back to the main page here. Did all that, didn't select the team to join, but you want to join after the fact, you can always go back to find the team here and see what teams are available to join. You can even see how much their goal is, how much they've raised so far. Just clicking on it will take you to their page as well, so you can see some more information if you want and see who signed up on it. And then decide whether or not that's the right team that you're supposed to join for your chapter. So that is pretty much it for the Friendship Walk page sign up. I'm gonna stop sharing now. Any questions? And if you have any that maybe you can't think of right now or you just don't want to, you can always just email us whenever between now and the Friendship Walk, and we will assist you as best we can. And then finally, I'm going to share the winners of the awards here. I think I can share my PowerPoint.
I got it, Joaquin. I'll share it really quick.
Okay.
I was having trouble locating the PowerPoint again.
No worries. Okay, so for
Oops, so sorry.
No, you're good. For Most Creative Match Party Award, we had 4 nominees, and out of those 4, we chose Colleyville Heritage High School. And then for the Good Friend Award, we selected Jennifer Edozie. Hopefully I said that last name correctly. The Helping Hand Award, we have Tommy Young. And then for the Extra Mile Award, we have Carlos Villafone. Hopefully I said that last name correctly too. But we will be reaching out to each of those winners and that winning chapter. The program manager in that area will reach out to you and we will send you your award, which is going to be a box of a variety of goods. You'll just have to wait to see. So before we end, does anyone have any questions about anything that we mentioned today or anything in general before we let you go? I see no questions. Okay, Well, then I'm going to stop this recording now.